everybody. I'm just posting that we are live. A-R-E-L-O-V-E exclamation mark. So tonight you may recognize my guest. I am supposed to have another one coming. I think she may be running late. Today was a big day in East Palestine. So today is 6 months since the derailment, as well as 1 month since Biden has had the request for a declaration of disaster that he has not signed. So tonight I welcome back a friend, Christina, and her son Edward. He's 4. He's my buddy. You may have seen him at the rally when she spoke and Jamie spoke. He's 4 years old and he's a great helper when it comes to unloading U-Hauls and stuff. He helped us all the way, and he is definitely a superhero. So thanks so much for coming back, you guys. So today, 6 months. I know you guys had something planned today. We were talking a little bit about it. What exactly did you guys plan today? Because I know 6 months is a big deal.
Yeah, we had with Unity Council, we've decided to take rocks and paint them and then line them up going down this walking path that goes down to the one of the creeks that, as of today, still looks contaminated to me. So it's Leslie Creek. It goes from Negley to East Palestine from where I'm at, or if you're in East Palestine, goes down to Negley. But they have a little walking trail there, and so we've decided to take the rocks and paint them with like anything that is on our mind or our hopes for in the future. Anything from this derailment, that's what I did, is kind of a mixture of both. Like for my rock, I've done the train tracks on one side and the plume over like a person that is supposed to be happy and then is falling over, and then a tombstone. So it's kind of symbolic as to like where we were and where we might go.
Wow. I want to show people the photo that you sent me. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Okay, let me see. I usually have Andrew here kind of doing the stuff on the back end because my eyes don't work. But let me see if I can figure this out. I think I just have to share. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see. Can you see this?
I cannot.
Oh, shoot. Okay, darn it. All right, yeah, I need Andrew here, damn it.
You can feel free to share it later as well if you can.
Wonder if, oh, here's what I think.
Popping up.
Oh, I see what it wants me to do. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to add it later because, so essentially what it is they just went today, 6 months later, and there is still this like white film and this rainbow kind of, it almost looks like bubbles, like an oil.
Yeah. The EPA has told us that there is some oil in that along with some other things.
Does it have a smell?
Well, I'm really sensitive to the smell. So like as soon as I get out of the car, I can smell it smells like chlorine. Um, but as you get closer to the creek, you can tell it's something else. Uh, because you know the smell of chlorine when you go to a
Yeah.
swimming pool, but it smells a bit different.
Wow. And I know you said Edward, he's not a fan of that smell.
No, he actually, as soon as he was down by there with me, um, so we could put our rocks down. And as soon as we got out of the car, he's like, "It smells like chlorine." How does a 4-year-old know what chlorine smells like? But he
Hmm.
knows it's normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's truly amazing getting to know Edward and Kyla. These kids, their entire life has been COVID and derailment, like their entire life. It's just outstanding. Edward, do you wanna tell everyone what you want them to do with the creeks?
What do you want them to do to the creek, Edward?
Uh, what?
You always say clean the creeks.
Clean up creeks.
Right, and you want to test the creeks, right?
Yep.
Yep. This is, they're so intelligent and they're so bright, but it's also really heartbreaking to,
Yeah,
I can't even fathom.
we
So, mhm,
have also gone and said how it's amazing. Like him and Kyla both now are saying that one of
yeah,
the chemicals, ethyl hexoacrylate, and like what 4-year-old knows those words? Like we didn't even know those words 6 months ago. Um,
yeah,
so it's like you're proud of them for being able to say it and like kind of know what it is, but it's also sad because they shouldn't know,
right,
and that never
absolutely.
happened to us.
So, for 6 months, I know, I've been talking to you guys for several months intimately, like pretty much daily, and interviewed many of you several times. And I see that the consensus is typically things are getting worse, not better. So what is kind of, what was your experience when it first happened, to the way it is now?
Like with symptoms or just in general, like overall.
Where were you on February 3rd? Were
Oh,
you
on February 3rd,
evacuated?
yeah, on February 3rd, I was here at home. I was just getting ready to put my son to bed. I'd actually just sat down on the bed next to him and I brought up Facebook and went on there, and there was a post that said that there was a train derailment in East Palestine and there was a gas station involved. There's 4 gas stations along the railroad track. And so our concern was like, which one? Because there's one that's
Right.
like out of the way, and then there's 3 that are close together. And
Oh,
obviously,
wow.
it would be a bad situation either way, but worse maybe than the other. So I got up out of off the bed, and we live with my dad. So I went to tell him that East Palestine, like there was a train derailment up there. And so we went out on our porch. I'm 5.8 miles away from the derailment, and I live in the middle of the woods. So in February, there were no leaves on the trees, but you could see fire and you could see smoke going up into the air. And I used to be a firefighter around here, and I've never seen a fire that big. Um, and I'm that far away. That night, later on through the night, it was about 12:30, I think, I started reading that they had evacuated the firefighters from the scene. And to me, I knew this was going to be bigger than what they were making it to be. because I've never been evacuated from a scene as a firefighter. And you don't get evacuated from it for nothing. So then I was up until 4 o'clock the next morning, trying to figure out what was going on. We don't have cable where I'm at, so there was no news except for social media. And then when they got closer to doing the vent and burn, we didn't get any evacuation notice where I'm at. We got one that said if you're in the mile radius that you are to evacuate, but out where I am, there was no shelter in place order. There was no evacuation order or anything. And then about a month and a half later, I went to tell, like, this was after I had been sick already. Like, I got sick the day before the vent and burn, with coughing and like burning in my nose a little bit. But the night of the vent and burn, about an hour or so after it had happened, I ended up coughing, and it just got worse through the night. I actually thought I was getting COVID. But it wasn't that. I did a COVID test. I've done 4 COVID tests since then and nothing. But a month and a half later, I went to one of our representatives and I told him, look, we're sick. We need help. And he said, well, just because you saw a black plume of smoke go over your house doesn't mean you've been affected. And I've never talked to him again.
Was that Brown?
No, it was Pennsylvania's Marshall. I forget his first name.
Okay.
Representative for Darlington.
Right.
And now, actually, from what we've been hearing, refuses to talk to anybody from Unity Council. And he'll talk to other people, but they don't seem to listen. Then we've reached out to our representatives. We've reached out to senators. We've reached out to the governor. Some of us have reached out to the president, like all over and over again. We've tried to talk to them, and nobody listens.
It's truly incredible. And it's interesting that you bring up that they evacuated the firefighters, because something I've heard by so many people in East Palestine itself was that they were not even evacuated, that neighbors were knocking on each other's doors, right, like, we need to leave. So I think that says a lot when your emergency personnel are not even comfortable going in to tell people to evacuate. That should really, that speaks volumes. And you brought up a good point that you're in Pennsylvania. So you are a little over 5 miles from East Palestine, but you are in Pennsylvania. So I always try to stress to people that this is not just an Ohio thing. This is on the border, and there are plenty of people in Pennsylvania who have also been affected for many miles. Because as we know, it's not like there's some border where the state line is. Air travels, water travels. I mean, before I forget, I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who has donated. We went to East Palestine for several days. We had that incredible rally. We were able to bring 2 U-Hauls full of mutual aid, and we're actually going back in 2.5 weeks. But in the interim, we've also been able to buy specific items for the residents. And because of your donations, we've been able to give Christina and Edward a new air filter, and He gets a new dresser. I hope that's not a surprise, but we've been able to help a lot of people with, with things they need. A lot of people need to rehome. They're starting from scratch. They cannot bring furniture, clothing, bedding. I mean, like literally nothing. So, these people are starting from scratch. So it's a huge task. And you guys, your donations have helped these people in so many ways. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to thank you all so much. Um, as far as, what has the local, state, and federal government done for anyone affected at this point, 6 months in, anything besides, $10 coupons, Easter egg hunts, and things like that?
First, I want to go back to your thank you too. Like we greatly appreciate everything that everybody's done. Because we're not getting even a bottle of water from the government or Norfolk Southern. So we thank everybody for all your donations because it has helped us be able to get some water, air purifiers, and some things that people did need to replace that have had to evacuate and just like not just evacuate but relocate and don't have anything anymore. So we are really grateful for that. And it's hard to get that message out to everybody because like people have helped us from all over the country and all over the world, but our government has done nothing. 6 months later, and the EPA is supposed to protect the people and the environment. And today I was at the creek and it's still contaminated. So how are they doing anything? We're still sick. People are still having seizures in town and people are still having bloody noses, and at some point they're going to be told to go home, and nobody, like, they haven't done anything. One couple weeks ago or last week we went to, everything just blends together sometimes, but we went to DC and we met with some of the senators and a couple representatives and committees, and one that you had gotten in touch with, Ro Kahana, I think is his name. He had met with us, and the day after we left, I think, or maybe the same day, he had posted a thing on his Facebook bringing awareness to this situation here. And he's across the country.
Yeah, he's California. And I mean, I disagree with him on practically everything. But one thing I will say is I hit him up the day before you guys went to DC, and I'm like, hey, I know it's last minute. Can you meet with my friends from East Palestine area? And he's like, yep, tell them between this time and this time. And then I emailed him thank you afterwards, and I was like, you need to post about this, this, and this. And he did. So at the very least, it's more than other people have done. Is it enough? No, but he's in California. He didn't even have to meet with anyone or what have you. I mean, the people in Ohio aren't doing anything. So even though I disagree with him on so much, and so many of these people, if they're willing to post about this important thing on their platform with a gajillion followers, we're going to take it. Like, it doesn't matter if, what the motives are or what have you. If they're going to do it, let's do it. Let's talk to anyone who will listen. Let's take any posts that we get. Is at this point, it really is. It's just unbearable. So many days when I try, I can't even imagine how you guys feel when you try.
We and I think it's like he's all the way out there. We might not agree on things like the politicians. We might not agree with some of them, or we might agree with some of what they say. That doesn't. The politics don't matter right now.
Yeah.
It's the thing that needs dropped is the politics, because we're people and we live and we breathe just like them.
Yep.
And they're in a position that they can help people and they can help their fellow Americans, and they don't help their fellow Americans. They're worried about the rest of the world sometimes. They're worried about their own careers, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not like we met with people that are on the red side, the blue side, and the independent side. So, we need help. And still, it's almost 8:30 at night on the 6-month anniversary. And where has Joe Biden been? His wife even came here a couple weeks ago for some other reason and still didn't come here to see what was really going on. It's like we live in a different country to them.
Where did she go? Did she go to East Palestine or just Ohio?
She was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, right. Okay,
But
that's right.
where I'm 40 minutes from Pittsburgh.
Right.
It's not that trip.
No. And to be clear to everyone, Biden has been saying for 6 months he was going to go. So this is someone who's been saying he's going to go. And it's obvious he was just like when Flint happened and Obama, and DAPL and everything, and Obama's like, let's see how it plays out. That's what Biden's doing. He's like, let me just wait long enough so it goes away. It's not going away. The fact that he knows if he goes, some people may actually have the balls to try and hold him accountable then. But, Pete went because someone cornered him and got him to say it on the air, and he did absolutely nothing. Then he was on an interview, it was a week or two ago, where he said that they need congressional approval to do some of these things, which is an absolute lie.
It doesn't take a congressional approval to give people bottled water as a human being.
No, I mean, Biden has executive order power. He has a bully pulpit. And people keep excusing that. If he wanted to right now, he could give all of you guys Medicare for all. He could give all of you guys federal funding. He could get FEMA out there. He could get National Guard out there. He could do whatever. That happens every single time there's a natural disaster. But if you look at his campaign donations, we know why he's not doing that.
Yeah, a lot of them have donations from Norfolk Southern that we've seen. And definitely. I've asked Norfolk Southern if they could give people water just for the sake of making them feel better.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we can't do that because it would make it look like there's something wrong with the creeks or the water. So even if you're not doing it from Norfolk Southern or the government, you don't just do it as a person. We had there was one politician that we are aware of who came out here today, and a local media station had gone and said, oh, the public is welcome to come to meet with him. And so some people showed up, not very many, but he was like, why are there people here? There's only supposed to be people, if there's an appointment or something. I don't really understand the whole thing. But he was like, I'm not meeting with everybody.
Who
Like, that's
was
the
it?
difference.
Let's call them out. Who was it?
Bill Johnson.
Oh, my buddy. You weren't gonna vote for me anyway. That wonderful person.
Who cares
Oh
for him or not?
yeah. Oh, he's a despicable person. Absolutely despicable. Oh my gosh. You guys know Jamie from my show. She has recordings of him speaking to her like, oh my god, just an awful person, an absolutely awful person. And yeah, that's the thing, like so many people you guys are forced to try to talk to are just so have no empathy whatsoever. And then they like Sherrod Brown, he's campaigning again. He's like, "Oh, you got to elect me again." And I'm just flooding his comments. Like, what are you doing for people in East Palestine? What are you doing? Like, I'm just flooding his comments cuz people are like, "Yay." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. No, you need to do more." Like, I think people just don't expect enough, or they don't think they're worth more, or I'm not sure what it is.
I did see a post from Sherrod Brown earlier, but it was more like he still said that we needed help, but it was also included in the post was something about his rail safety bill. Which there is stuff like that does need done, but we need help.
Right. That's a separate issue. Trying to stop stuff from like this happening again, that is incredibly important, but that is a separate issue. They need to be making posts about Norfolk Southern are terrorists. They need to be held accountable. They are doing nothing except exacerbating the pain of these people, and we need to focus on the tragedy at hand, and then we will work on that. There has to be precedent of, what is more important right now. The important thing is people have been suffering for 6 months and they have done nothing. It's truly incredible. I don't know how you guys I don't know how you guys keep fighting. I don't. You guys are so strong. I can't even imagine it.
I just feel like, for me, I keep fighting because I have a child and he deserves a future.
Absolutely.
And we all deserve to live.
Yeah. Absolutely. You you have shared some of the medical symptoms, and you said before we went live today, you stated that just going down to the creek with your heavy duty mask, and everything, you still had symptoms.
Yeah, my on the way up there, my legs started getting tingly, and I started to feel like I was intoxicated. And then when I was there, I had my mask on. Not long after I got out of the car, I have a respirator. I got out of the car and I could smell the chlorine type of smell, and then was fine pretty much when I was down there with that mask on. But then coming home, I had it off again, and I was driving back through Negley, which is outside the 1 mile area. And it's just a little town. If people aren't familiar with it, it's just a little town that's down the hill from East Palestine. And my feet were, or like from my knees to my toes, were tingly and feeling like they were falling asleep. I got that intoxicated feeling again, and stomach actually started getting a bit upset. But I kind of, you know what to expect now. You try to do your best. Like this probably at least until a year anniversary. This will be my last time going down the creek.
Right. And to give people an idea of when she says mask, we're not talking about like a COVID mask. Like we're talking the huge like helmet mask things. Oh, you're going to show us?
Yeah.
Like it's the mother load of masks. Which Rick Shy, who's been on my show, has worn and also gotten sick as well. It's like the most heavy duty possible. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to still have symptoms, even wearing that heavy duty thing.
Right.
So, something I would really love to see, which would never happen, but something I would love to see is if only these reps would go down there for 1 hour, just 1 hour. All y'all just chill, take in the smell, take in the air, like just be exposed to this for hell, even 15 minutes and tell us that it's cool. One thing I wanted to ask you, not that this means much of anything, but I think it is important. On those creeks, are there any kind of caution tape or anything like that?
There used to be a sign. It was a white sign that said "Keep out, testing in progress." And hold on, Edward. And today there was no sign, and we brought that up. Some of us brought up. I think it was the week before last EPA meeting. It was just the most recent EPA meeting. We brought up that they should have some kind of like red sign down there saying to keep out, the creek is contaminated or something. Right. Danger. Something that's more.
But that would be acknowledging it. That's the problem.
We're testing because there are like 10-year-old kids or maybe even younger. I mean, people around here, they have grown up going down the creeks. And so when you're a kid, you just go down the creek. And they don't, like, if you just see, oh, there's testing in progress, a sign like that, you're not necessarily going to stay out of the creek. I don't go into the creek. There's some big boulders that are along the creek, and I stay up on those. I don't even try to go on the dirt next to it that looks like it could be moist because you know it was in the creek.
Right.
So there's no signage down there today at Leslie Run. I'm not sure about Sulphur Run, but I won't go to Sulphur Run. It's worse.
That's what I've heard. Wow. Something else that's really interesting is when, people are saying that they, are smelling these chemicals and things like that. The EPA has been so less than honest. Now, I forget who it was, but there was one representative, I believe it was of the EPA, who said, something about cancer. Well, we have ways to treat cancer for when it happens.
Yeah, CDC. We went to a CDC meeting. There was a bunch of different agencies there that day. We asked for a medical meeting, and we had been asking for a medical meeting about the medical conditions and stuff that we were experiencing, symptoms that we were experiencing. And we had been asking for like over a month for it. And so they came in and they said, look, we don't know. We know you've all been exposed to something, to the chemicals, but we don't know how to treat that exposure in your bodies. But we know how to treat the cancers that you could get later. We've I've talked to other people where maybe it's that they don't know how to treat them with more, like with pharmaceuticals or the chemicals that they use in pharmaceuticals. But there are some things from other people I've talked to of like the old school medicine, like the herbal medicines and stuff, that could help with blocking the chemicals from affecting your organs, or getting the chemicals out of your organs. Not all of them, but some of the, like, some people it works for and some people that doesn't work for, the same as medicine.
Right.
So I mean, I'm willing to try either way, because it's better than having it in you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something like this is going to be trial and error. So they can't just be like, we got nothing. They're charging $700 for people to take a test to see if they have vinyl chloride. And then when they test positive, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all we have. We don't know how to treat it. I find it very hard to believe that no one in the entire world has ever tested positive for vinyl chloride, and nobody has done nothing, even, be it, minerals or vitamins or anything. I find that really hard to believe.
Right. There are tests that can be done, like we've found the vinyl chloride metabolite test and the benzene metabolite, and I've looked into a bunch of the other chemicals too, and there are tests that they could have done. He's spraying me with a spray bottle in my face. But there are tests that they could have done, but they would have had to do them in the first like 72 hours.
Right.
Or like, I don't know, the testing that we've done with the metabolite, I've known people to test positive for it until recently. So it's still there. Right. I've also talked to people about, well, they say, oh, it could be there because you barbecue.
Yeah.
Or you have burn like a bonfire in your yard, or you burn a wood stove and things. And I've asked people like who are familiar with like liver problems and how vinyl chloride acts in your liver or benzene, and they're all like, no, that's not why. Yeah. There was another lady in our group, Hillary, who had the inside of her home and her air purifier had tested positive for ethyl hexoacrylate. And I believe it was the EPA had told her, well, you just use too much nail polish. He doesn't, anytime I've seen her nails, she's never used nail polish.
No, she doesn't even wear nail polish.
And a lot of it, like if you're testing positive for it, it has to be in a high dose, like a high enough dose.
Right.
And you paint nails, or running your washing machine or dryer in your home, or like coming from your clothes. If it didn't make you sick before, why would it make you sick now?
Right. That's the thing. The common thing is nobody had any of these symptoms prior to 6 months ago. And I know that there was one woman who was told when she went to that so-called free clinic when it first opened, they said, well, we don't know what kind of drugs were in your system. That's how people are treated. It's absolutely disgusting. They are
Yeah.
being told to deny anything in any way possible.
I had taken my son to the doctor once. Well, we went to the clinic once that was in Darlington, and I took him to urgent care once whenever he was really coughing, and he really did not look right. He's really pale and stuff. So I took him to the doctor, and they said, well, we don't know if this is a cold or what it is, so there's nothing we can really do. And I went 4 times to the doctor myself. I've probably been sicker than anyone else in my house. But I went to the clinic twice. One time they told me I had an ear infection. One time the lady told me they don't know what to do or what it is, which is being told you just have an ear infection. And then not looked at any other system that you've complained of symptoms from. And then I went to my primary care doctor, and before the CDC came in, and they said, well, we're going to give you a diagnosis of chemical, what's the actual diagnosis? Exposure to toxic chemicals, non-occupational. And we did vinyl chloride tests, and myself and my son were negative.
Good.
But it doesn't mean that we weren't positive at some point. It just means like that day we were negative.
Right. Right. And can people, I know I've talked to someone who said they could also turn up positive at some point as well.
Right. I could be positive tomorrow because maybe if I was down at the creek tomorrow, I could be positive.
Absolutely incredible. This is, it's just so disgusting. And Unity Council, shout out to Unity Council. You guys, only one of you guys has ever done any kind of organizing or activism in the past. And you guys, honestly, I've been doing this shit for years. You guys are the best organizers I have ever worked with. And I'm so serious when I say that. You guys are phenomenal. And you guys just sprung into action. You guys go every route possible between petitions, meeting with reps, you know, rallies and protests, and you guys are just so organized and do so much in every possible way. It has been an absolute honor to work with you guys. You're phenomenal, honestly.
I think we're trying everything and anything that we can to try and get help, like for our entire community, like not just East Palestine, but like every community around here. I know I go north of East Palestine and I get sick. I go east of East Palestine and I get sick. I go south of East Palestine and I get sick. So it's everywhere. And then we've got the train derailment. We've got incinerators. We've got a cracker plant. A nuclear power plant. I don't know if it's still throwing out pollution or whatever. But like then we've got all kinds of stuff down in Pittsburgh too. It's all over us.
Yeah, the cracker plant isn't far from you guys at all. And just so people who aren't in the area, understand, it's not like like Ritz crackers. It's like, do you want to explain essentially what they do there?
Yeah, they're a petrochemical company. They make plastic. One of the things, hence the vinyl chloride. There's also a lot of other chemicals that go into that. Benzene is also one. Edward, I can't help you right now. So they're on they're being watched too for what is going into the air from them.
Right. Yeah, it's really incredible. Like my friend who you met, Jenna, like she lives in Pittsburgh, and her air lack of quality is insane. I mean, I went to stay with her for a few days and it looks like the sky is just gray. And part of that is the cracker plant and other things around there too. So, and then she's been getting a lot of that Canadian wildfire smoke. So that's all going through your area and everything on top of it.
Yeah, we've had that too. It's actually like been hazy here the last couple of days from that. A few weeks ago when it was really bad up in Pittsburgh or down in Pittsburgh, the air quality, I don't know how familiar people are with it. I mean, we've gotten familiar with it through all of this, but it was at 266. And at one point I saw the governor of New York commenting on it, and she said healthy air quality is below 50.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely incredible. If there, I mean, today is 6 months. What is your message to people watching? What would you like them to take away from this?
That I think for me, I just remember that this can happen to anyone, anywhere, anywhere in the world. It's not just America, but train derailments happen all over the world.
Sure.
And toxic chemicals travel all over. And it's like if you I don't want to say it, but if you ever are in the situation, reach out to your neighbors and ask them if they're okay. Yeah. And come together like some of us have and stand up for yourself, your family, and your community, and do whatever you can to make a difference. Because thus far, there's nobody coming to save us.
Absolutely. I think this is a prime example of how, you guys have so much solidarity with each other. It's truly incredible. I cannot remember a time I felt so much solidarity than at that rally. It was so beautiful. It was incredible. I just love you guys so much. You're all so amazing. What is something, if politicians are watching, I guarantee they're not, but what is your message to, let's say, the mayor, the governor, and even the POTUS?
The mayor, I'll just say, I mean, we're on here. The mayor needs to grow some and stand up.
Yep.
It don't matter if they're $1 billion company. If he would have stood up and said that people needed help and they needed and that they were sick, then this whole thing could have been different.
Yep.
If he's afraid of money stop coming into the town that's coming in for parks and Easter egg hunts and fireworks and what have you. If he's afraid of that money stop coming, like no longer coming in, that just shows Norfolk's true colors.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about fun and games. It's about people living. And so to the mayor, man up. And Governor DeWine, we at least, I guess, appreciate that you sent the thing to Joe Biden, but you can give water to people. And to the representatives, like, quit taking Norfolk's money. And even if they do still give you money, you can return it to here to help people.
Yep.
And they need to do more. Reach out to the people that have been trying to reach out to you for 6 months that are saying that things aren't okay. Because we're not blowing smoke up anybody's ass.
Yep.
We're telling you we're sick. And Joe Biden, we need the declaration for disaster signed, not just for East Palestine, for Pennsylvania's communities and even West Virginia, because this water flows down there. And we don't even know, like, where all of this has gone, as far as it has gone. The Ohio River runs all the way down to the Mississippi.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? You bring up another great point. Even, yes, representatives, but even candidates, these people running for president, only one of them has actually come to East Palestine and met with the people. So say what you want about Marianne Williamson, but she's the only one who's actually taken the time to come and talk to you. RFK Jr. came once and he met with the mayor and praised him, and then he went and talked to some stockholders afterwards. Biden, we know, sure as hell didn't come. I'm hoping Cornell comes. I don't know why he's never said anything at all about EP. So it's time for them to step up too, because they have huge platforms. But yeah, I mean, I think the world of all of you. I can't wait to come back in 2 weeks and see you all. Edward, do you have any words you want to leave with the people here?
Yeah, I got something to show you.
You got something.
Do? Cool.
Here, Edward, here. You can show everybody your new thing. They gotta go. So come on.
Wow. Cool.
And for, like, everybody who, again, who's helped donate and everything, we do really appreciate it. Joy is really helping us. She bought this for us. That's our air purifier. So it is greatly appreciated from all of us, not just myself, but all of us in the communities and all of us in Unity Council too. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you again, all of you, for who have donated. And even not, I know not everybody has the means to go to another state and help out or even donate, but it's on all of us to even share these interviews, share the posts, share these articles, share these people's stories. These are all important ways to, at the very least, share that, educate people, and explain to them 6 months later this is still going on, because we know we can't count on the government, so all we have is each other. That's it. That's all we have. Also, it's 6 months in, there's still only 3 of us on Indie Media who even talk about this. If you watch people on YouTube and stuff, it is your responsibility to hold them accountable and say, hey, are you ever going to talk about that thing where people have been suffering for 6 months? Because they don't talk about it because you guys don't push them to. Unfortunately, you shouldn't need to, but that's where we are, unfortunately. So we're going to count on you guys to also keep this conversation going. Smash the like button, share this, subscribe, and again, thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, Edward. I will see you in about 2 weeks.
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. Aw. Thank you again, Christina. Much love to you and everyone else around.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.